New at noon, Oregon leading the charge as over 20 states sue the Trump administration over his new global tariffs. Plus,
the thing that I was hoping is that I'd get to see her and my 4 kids one more time.
A man is grateful to be alive after getting trapped in an avalanche at Stevens Pass. How he was rescued after being buried for hours. Plus, an Oregon couple faces more than 400 animal neglect charges after authorities seized hundreds of goats from their dairy farm. And after months of back and forth, an ICE facility in Newport seems to be on hold for now, while the mayor is still worried this afternoon. And we start this noon with breaking news. Just within the last hour, President Trump announcing he is replacing Kristi Noem as Homeland Security Secretary. Trump is expected to nominate Oklahoma Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen in her place. Trump is making the announcement just 2 days after Noem was grilled on Capitol Hill from GOP members as well as Democrats. Trump says he'll make Noem a special envoy for the Shield of Americas, a new security initiative that he said would focus on the Western Hemisphere. And good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tim Gordon. The shakeup at the DHS comes just hours after Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield announced he's leading the charge on a new lawsuit challenging Trump's new global tariffs. More than 20 states have jumped on the suit, alleging Trump overstepped his power after imposing a new 15% tariff after the Supreme Court struck down the ones he imposed last year. Today, Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield spoke out against the tariffs in a joint press conference.
Almost 2 weeks ago, the president learned what all of us already knew, that his attempt to pass tariffs were unlawful and unconstitutional. And instead of focusing his efforts on returning the hundreds of billions of dollars to Americans, he instructed his attorneys to find more lawyerly ways to pass his failed economic agenda item.
The Associated Press reports Trump does have other legal ways to impose tariffs, with some still in place from his first term in office. Right now, police are working to figure out what led to a Northeast Portland shooting that sent one man to the hospital. Police say a suspect is in custody after the shooting broke out around 3 o'clock this morning. They say it happened around Northeast Sandy Boulevard and 113th Avenue. That's near the Horseshoe Inn Motel. Officers say they found the suspect in a nearby yard with the help of a canine unit. And we have video appearing to show that arrest this morning, showing officers approaching the suspect with their rifles drawn. Police say they are not looking for additional suspects. Well, this morning, a jury started deliberations in the case of Michael Fournier, the man accused of killing his estranged wife in 2024. Closing arguments wrapped up yesterday in Clackamas County. Deputies say his estranged wife, Susan Lane Fournier, was found dead in Welches near Highway 26. She'd been shot 3 times. Her 2 dogs also killed. It happened just weeks after Lane signed divorce papers. Yesterday, prosecutors argued this played a role in the murder.
You heard from the defendant in one of the statements where he talks about she was preparing a coup. In essence, he knew that she was done with him. Wonder why?
In their closing arguments, the defense criticized the state's case, suggesting it was based on investigators' pre-existing belief of Fournier's guilt, pointing to how detectives interrogated him. Well, after several days of testimony, a federal judge will now determine whether law enforcement officers are permitted to use tear gas outside Portland's ICE facility. The ruling could shape how protests are handled outside the building moving forward. Lawyers representing protesters argue the federal agents used excessive force, violating protesters' protected speech. Lawyers for the Department of Homeland Security argue officers are protecting the building and sometimes the use of force is necessary. The hearings wrapped up yesterday, and now we're waiting for a decision from the judge. Developing nationally this afternoon, Britney Spears is now out of police custody this morning after she was arrested last night in California. Booking records show Spears, whose occupation was simply listed as celebrity, was arrested by California Highway Patrol Wednesday night. TMZ and Variety are reporting the arrest was for DUI, although publicly available records do not indicate the charge against her. She's due back in court on May 4th. All right, taking a live look over our Rose City sky cam this afternoon. Some scattered showers have rolled throughout the day, right on in. And Chris McGinnis is in the Weather Center tracking the latest. Chris.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim. What you see out there this morning is probably what we're going to get for the remainder of this afternoon, as in a shower or two, a couple of breaks in the rain, and then a few more showers. And that has played out over the last 3 hours, certainly. Radar showing a smattering of green on the map and some dry time. Meanwhile, we do have snow flying in the Cascades. Not heavy snow, but snow nonetheless. Let's zoom in right now. North Portland, Vancouver, up towards Salmon Creek. We have a couple of heavier showers showing up right now. So if you're watching us over towards Mill Plain, Fisher, Camas, you're next in line as these are whipping on off to the east at about 20 miles an hour. Down to the south, lighter rain showers falling in Oregon City, Gladstone, and back towards Lake Oswego. And last but not least, over to the west side here, we've got a pretty good cell now working its way from Forest Grove and Cornelius. This is working its way eastward towards Hillsborough and eventually Beaverton. You're going to get wet again, and you will probably get wet again after that later today. Basically rinse, wash, and repeat. A lot like yesterday, probably even more rainy today than yesterday. Right now it's 49 in Vancouver under a slate gray sky. It's cloudy in our state capital at 47 with a light south breeze. And our Wells Fargo sky camera shows some of that rain off in the distance on the south side of town, certainly. It's 49 right now at the airport, and the plan today has temperatures inching into the low 50s with showers and a few sun breaks today. Today's sunset, 6:02. Back to you, Tim.
All right, Chris, we'll see you soon. Thanks. A federal judge has set November 2nd as the trial date for Blazers coach Chauncey Billups, charged in a rigged poker case. Billups was arrested last October, hours after the team's home opener. The FBI alleges he participated in poker games run by New York mafia families. Prosecutors may offer plea deals to 12 of more than 30 defendants, but it is unclear if Billups is included, his legal team not commenting. An Oregon couple faces more than 400 animal neglect charges after authorities seized hundreds of goats from their dairy farm. Tanya and Aaron Barr had 236 goats seized by authorities from their Malheur County property last month, on top of each being indicted on 239 counts of first-degree felony animal neglect. Court records show they also face 7 counts of second-degree animal neglect. While deputies seized the goats, they still belong to the Barrs. The animals are being cared for at a facility in California, and we're told they're already doing better in their care. In an update, a Washington bill that would ban most law enforcement officers, including federal agents, from wearing masks is closer to becoming law in the state of Washington. The bill passed the final vote in the House Tuesday night and now just needs to clear one more vote in a conference committee. The governor says he looks forward to signing the bill. It does include some exemptions, including for religious reasons, undercover operations, and certain safety situations. Developing this afternoon, ICE officials say they have no plans to open an ICE facility in Newport. Still, Newport's mayor says the town is worried the federal government could try to build a detention facility in the future. KGW's Thomas Schultz has more on what we know.
This is a back and forth that has stretched on for months now, with ICE filing a motion to dismiss this suit, which was filed back in December. In the latest filing, an ICE official says ICE has made no decision or plan to begin construction of a temporary holding or processing facility in Newport or in Lincoln County. Federal officials previously explored establishing an ICE detention facility at the Newport airport. Still, Mayor Jan Kaplan says the city of Newport hasn't received any notice that ICE will not try to place a facility in Newport in the near future. In a statement, Mayor Kaplan writes, quote, "For months, ICE has left our community in a state of uncertainty. We will remain actively engaged until ICE has made a decision, and we will only be satisfied when that decision is to make a permanent commitment not to establish a detention facility in Newport." Kaplan adds that due to what he calls a lack of transparency, both from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, litigation will continue to ensure a facility is not built in Newport. Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
A Trader Joe's Southeast Portland location is closed this afternoon after an asbestos exposure issue. This is the Trader Joe's on Southeast Cesar Chavez Boulevard. The store closed yesterday afternoon at the request of the Department of Environmental Quality. The DEQ says the store will remain closed until the asbestos is fully decontaminated. The Oregon Health Authority and Multnomah County Health Department believe the risk of harm to the public is low because of the short exposure time. We expect to receive more information from the DEQ and other responding agencies a little later today.